All right. What is up, guys? Welcome, Crypto FUD. Let's jump right into this. First things first, happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everybody in the States, especially anybody that served. Thank you guys so much. Hope everybody has a great day today. You're off work, enjoying with your family. Let's do this, guys. So Bitcoin right now, sitting at around 109,600. We saw a nice little move towards the upside yesterday when we were expecting nothing much really happening till maybe later on today. We were expecting, we covered this on the members only stream, that there was going to be a lot of liquidity for this week, given that we do have a holiday, which is today. The actual stock market is closed today. We kind of left off on Friday, not the best in the markets, given that there was, a lot of tariff talk in regards to the EU and Apple and stuff like that. Well, yesterday out of nowhere, we ended up seeing Bitcoin just having like a God candle again, breaking out, coming down from 106,006 all the way up to about 110K within hours. Why was that? Well, obviously we all know Trump started tweeting basically that, he had a news conference stating that the tariffs against the EU particularly were going to be paused, right? I think he on Friday he kind of just went off, was upset with whatever's going on with the trades with the EU. Basically started tweeting, scared the markets right before they closed, and we kind of, we saw what we were seeing for the last few days in the weekend. Given that it's a holiday as well, low volume was just kind of a downward movement, kind of slow, but nothing much going on. Well, since then, obviously we've seen a big move towards the upside. Bitcoin kind of regaining that $110,000 area, and the market seemed to be back up and running, right? So it's a crazy world that we're living in right now. We already know with crypto, things can move off of tweets, not just from Trump, but like, if you're back from 2021, you remember Dogecoin used to move, within minutes after Elon would post something, and we would start flying. So, I mean, we're back into that kind of reaction, territory as far as, a good tweet comes out, the markets like it, we start pumping, right? But vice versa. A bad tweet comes out, the markets start dumping. So, Crypto Meow, what's going on, brother? What is going on from the West Coast? Nice, brother. What state do you live in? Well, good morning, because I know it's early over there, bro. Were you from California? I'm going to guess. I'm going to say you're from... Okay, California. I was going to say maybe like Washington or something. Hell yeah, nice. I spent a lot of time in California, dude. Much love. Much love in Cali, bro. I'm all the way over in Florida, so... Oh, nice. Well, you better be ready, bro, because it is so... You guys want to move to Florida? Nice. I live over in the Tampa Bay area, and man, it is just so hot. It really is so hot right now, dude. So if you're not used to that humidity, it's going to take you a solid year to get used to it. I will tell you that. Nice. Oh yeah. So let's continue with this. So yeah, like I said, right now markets, we're back up and running, right? We had a little bit of a downward boringness for the last few days. Obviously, like I just explained with the tariffs and stuff like that, how the market ended. But as of yesterday, seems to be back up and running. Looks like someone spoke with Trump and was like, bro, listen, the markets are running right now. Stop with the freaking tweets. End the bullshit with the tariffs for right now. Just stop. Right? Fix my chair here. So things are looking good, but we're not here really to talk about Bitcoin particularly. We're going to talk about a couple other things. Let's just jump into it. So across the board, crypto bubbles right now looking straight green. Everything's looking great, actually. I mean, there's only a few things right now like Hyperliquid, which has been running really well. A lot of people have been very hype on this Hyperliquid, no pun intended, as far as its ecosystem, what it's been building. But across the board, everything looks good. Jupiter's up, everything based on Solana, Radium, doing really good. Virtual, Fetch AI. We're actually going to talk about, I believe this is Zcash. We're going to be talking about, I think that's Zbeck. If I'm not mistaken, Flip, we're going to be talking about that because it seems like everybody is piling in on this Zbeck network right now and what the hell is going on with that. Flip has been calling this for the last like 6 months on the chat. So crypto, looking at the fear and greed index right now, still sitting pretty solid. nothing to be too worried about. We're at 69 right now in greed. Nothing really to be worried about. Like I said last week, we were getting a little overcooked right before we kind of started to see the markets retrace slightly. We were getting close to that extreme greed. You guys know how I am. I do look at fear and greed heavily on my trades. When we start getting into greed, but mostly into extreme greed, I'm not buying anything. I'm actually looking for the exit door on a lot of things, just because usually that's and that doesn't mean exactly right when we hit extreme greed, but when we are like overcooked, we can look. The last time the market really topped out, extreme greed, we had gotten up to 88 basically. This was back in November of 2024, about 6-7 months ago. That was when we pretty much topped out at our previous all-time highs, and extreme greed was at around 88. So right now we're at around 69. We're in a good spot where the markets still have a lot more room to move. Nothing to be too particularly worried about as far as fear and greed, as in my opinion, for right now. Bill, what's going on, bro? Overcome. What's going on, brother? So yeah, that's pretty much that with that. Everything looks good on Crypto Bubbles. Fear and greed looks good. Volume right now for the day is up about 9%, 8.5%, which is, very good given that right now all the markets are closed for right now. Looking at the market cap, we've been slowly but surely moving up. We're at around 3.4 trillion right now. Our not all-time high. Well, yeah, I think it was our all-time high. Now that I'm thinking about it, was around 3.74, 3.72. So, I mean, we are slowly but surely creeping up, and you're kind of wondering, all-time high Bitcoin right now, right? We're so close to all-time highs for Bitcoin. Market cap, not there yet, right? And you're wondering why is that? Well, it's because alts haven't really gone parabolic yet. Once you really start seeing Ethereum particularly, and a lot of the major big cap alts start breaking these highs or getting close to these highs, that's when we're probably going to start seeing that $4 trillion mark get broken, and us basically just running up 4 or 5 trillion. Not 4 or 5 trillion, but like 4 trillion, 5 trillion. We start breaking out into those really big numbers. And that's really because a lot of people aren't just piling in as they are right now, solely into Bitcoin, but also into across the board for alts as well. Bitcoin dominance right now sitting at around 64.4. It has been spiking up. I mean, it's obviously, since we saw this dramatic move, this was probably about 2 weeks ago, the beginning of May. We saw a dramatic drop in Bitcoin dominance. Not the price. At the time, Bitcoin's price was still running up like crazy, but dominance was dropping. Alts were moving like crazy. As we saw a few weeks ago, meme coins had a nice big run. Solana breaking up to like that 180, 190 area. Ethereum running up to about 2,700. Obviously, we've seen a lot of those retrace because you're seeing Bitcoin's dominance spiking up, and it actually just broke again above this big spot, 64.3%, a big spot that is resistance. As we zoom in, you can see we basically hit our head multiple times, which I could have told you we probably were going to break above briefly. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like with dominance, something like this happens where, we've already had a high, we saw the dip. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one more move towards the upside, and then we drop, really actually, forming some kind of a double top on the dominance, and obviously on that second top, hopefully, even if it comes up, maybe it doesn't need to come all the way up to 65.4 around these highs right here, but somewhere around there before we see some kind of a rejection, and we start seeing alts moving down or moving up fast, with dominance dropping and a lot of that money kind of surging over into a lot of our favorite alts. So it is coming. We've been talking about this for the last 2 weeks. I told you guys, I especially been really covering this on our members only stream, that altcoin season, it's literally on the horizon, right? It usually lags behind Bitcoin's highs, right? We've seen Bitcoin breaking highs in the last few weeks. Alt season will commence and will start probably in the next week or two. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing alts just start breaking out of their shells, right? Ethereum starts getting up there to 2,700, 2,800, finally breaking above 3,000. Solana breaking that $200 threshold. XRP breaking above $3 again. start seeing the big caps breaking out. Obviously, you're going to start seeing meme coins and stuff like that just start going crazy. And that's going to be basically us in altcoin season, but at the beginning of it, right? Because it's going to probably be, we'll have a nice little altcoin season, in my opinion. Last time, 2021, we had the nice build up as alt started to run up. But that altcoin season where it was just going crazy, like, I mean, just anything you bought in on, even in extreme greed, you just bought in on something, it would be, 1, 2, 3, 4x, and just within a few days, all that money, just the liquidity just flying in, but it's not for long, right? Last time, 2021, around October is when the top of that parabolic season started, and we only ran to the end of November, really. So it was about a 4 to 6 week kind of threshold, and then that was the top of the market. Now, I don't know if that's going to be how everything plays out this time, because we are early in the season, in my opinion. I still do think that we're most likely going to be topping out early. I've been seeing a lot of other YouTubers, and I'm not disagreeing with them. I don't think any of us actually really know, but I've been seeing it's just like a mixed breed, where some people are like myself, thinking that we're going to get a top out a lot earlier this season, not towards the end of the year. And I just saw earlier some of these crypto channels calling for the top in 2026, thinking that we're going to run for the next 7-8 months. I hope they're right. I hope I'm wrong. I really don't care, as long as we see that massive top and we get into finally altcoin season. A lot of exit liquidity comes flowing into the markets. I don't think any of us are going to be upset, right? The time frame, we can all sit here and argue. I don't think a lot of us know until it's kind of already there and past. So the only thing I can say is just be prepared, right? Because things move very, very, very quickly. So let's jump into a couple things on what's going on. We're not going to be here too long, folks. And excuse me if I'm coughing into the mic. I am still getting over a little cold. So Zbeck network price funding rate turns red. Will we see a ZBCN crash? I highly doubt it. This Zbeck network has been absolutely running. So the token continues a parabolic rally and got extremely overbought as demand jumped. Zbeck, a payment utility platform on Solana network, has risen 9 consecutive days, reaching a record high of 0.0055. It has jumped over 600% from its monthly lows, pushing its market cap above $410 million. And if you really think about that, $410 million market cap is like crumbs. It is literally like crumbs. Right now, the market cap, Zbeck is migrating to ZB. Let me see here. This should still be, yeah, this is it. Right now, it has cooled off a little bit since this article dropped, but I mean, the market cap's somewhere around $360 million. That's still so freaking low, in my opinion, on what this thing could actually get to. So the ZBCN token rally as futures open interest surged as a record high. Data shows open interest hit 12.27 million, up from its monthly low of around 2.43 million. Mostly of its activity occurred on Bybit, Mexi, and Gate. Rising open interest is often viewed as a bullish signal, indicating increased liquidity and stronger demand. According to the sentiment data, the token surge coincided with a spike in social media activity. So one thing I always tell you guys, what is like the biggest driver for any particular project, right? It is hype, right? So if you can start getting all over Twitter, and this goes for like even freaking meme coins, right? If you can get over Twitter or X, and you're on Facebook and all, and you're on an Ethereum page, and they're talking about Zbeck, or it's just, if the hype gets behind, money is just endless, and it just flows in, and you can see these projects just, I mean, like absolutely go crazy if the hype is on its side. And that's exactly what it is. Take out the fundamentals of this project as far as it being, it sounds like some kind of a financial processing kind of a project that has, deals with like MasterCard and stuff like that. Take all that out and just like use just strictly the hype, and you're going to see, like I said, this project absolutely start ripping, and it's been ripping, right? So let's see here. So that is a sign that it could be experiencing fear of missing out, FOMO, right? FOMO setting in on this project among retail traders. This is also shown by the fact that the number of holders has continued to rise, reaching an all-time high of 58,776. Zbeck Network is a payment-focused company offering solutions such as MasterCard-enabled debit cards, a cross-border remittance tool, according to its website, and serves over 50,000 monthly users across 138 countries. So, I mean, you can see this is something that I think crypto was made for, particularly, right? A payment system, right? That's basically across the world right now. You can see 50,000 monthly users are using this across almost 150 different countries, right? So this something like this is like what I think the crypto needs, right? As far as just across the board for a lot of people being able to use it as a transaction based project, if you will, right? I don't know anything as far as like fees, but it is off the Solana network, so I'm sure that the fees using this Zbeck network is probably crazy low, right? And this is why I've been saying we looked at an article not too long ago about Trump, and I'm not going against Trump or anything like that, but just Trump and the White House wanting to basically tax people that work in the United States but send money abroad, right, to their families. And a lot of these people use like Western Union, and they'll use their banks, right? And these banks are slow, and they charge them outrageous. And on top of that, the White House is also, on top of all the fees that they use or they're getting charged, the White House wants to charge them another 10% because they're sending money abroad, right? They're working in the United States, but they're not spending their money in the United States. They're sending it to their families and back, wherever they come from, which is, it's their money, right? They can do that. Crypto is going to be the answer on how these people can actually do it and get around probably 20 to 30% fees if you add it all up. And something like Zbeck could easily be there, right? I say this, I don't even think you need Zbeck to do that. Obviously, having DeFi, you could do that just using Solana, right? Just buying and selling Solana or USDC on Solana. The fees are minute compared to what they're probably paying right now. So these are all the things that we knew were going to come to crypto, and it's actually starting to come into fruition. So another thing here. So here's what happened in crypto today. We're just going to briefly see. So a crypto investor loses 2.6 million in stablecoins and a double phishing scam. Be cautious out there, guys. So it looks like our system detected 2.6 million USDT loss from a targeted address poisoning scam involving zero value transfers. A single victim was repeatedly scammed by the same attacker address. Damn, they're having a bad day. You think you're having a bad day? They're having a bad day. Speaker Johnson shrugs off Trump's crypto dinner concerns. The left was going crazy over that. And Strategy co-founder Michael Saylor signals impeding Bitcoin purchase, right? So my boy's about to be buying more Bitcoin, even at 110K. He's buying because he says, he's like, I don't look at the price. He's looking at how much they actually own, and it's just not enough. He said he's not going to be looking to sell Bitcoin until it reaches a number of $13 million per Bitcoin is what Strategy says. So we could see a nice little move towards the upside just with investors looking at this, whatever he's going to buy, right? And he doesn't buy small stuff, but him just buying and adding to his bag, even at these higher prices, is going to bring a lot of confidence for your small retail investors whenever they get wind of this. Because, I mean, even them looking at 110,000, I'm sure a lot of these people are kind of like, damn, Bitcoin seems to be so high. But then when you have the flip side, you have people, whales, still buying massive amounts of Bitcoin at these prices. It's going to give confidence, letting them know that even Michael Saylor knows that Bitcoin is going to continue to move and continue to move. Whether we have these cool offs here and there, the long picture is that Bitcoin, we already know, is a circulating source that only has a certain amount, right? And there's not going to be any more added to Bitcoin. So someone like Saylor is like, screw the price. I just want to be able to hold as much as possible long term. This is going to be better than gold, is pretty much what he's saying. So, and then Bitcoin's new highs may have been driven by Japan's bond market. If you guys are familiar, not going to bore you, but obviously Japan's been kind of going through some stuff, and I'm thinking a lot of investors in Japan have been really running over to Bitcoin, particularly just because their bonds over there are cooked. Japan is going through, we saw a big drop. This was probably like last year when Japan decided to finally raise interest rates, the whole freaking world economy like dropped down a few percent just because of that. And you're like, why the hell would it do that over Japan? Well, Japan actually is the biggest debt holder of the United States. They hold over $1 trillion worth of our debt, right? And so when people start seeing Japan not doing good, it worries the markets across the world, because then they think that Japan potentially was going to start selling off on that debt. So one thing I wanted to pull up was this Project Moonpig. I did bring this up in the Discord this past week. This goes over. So if you guys have been living under a rock, this guy James Nguyen has been the big 40x whale that's been doing his leverage trading. Dude's basically has like $1 billion trade out. I don't know if it's still $1 billion. This is as of 6 hours on his X. Let's see here. So back in the casino already. Only thing is, can I keep my position under control? Once a degen, always a degen. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, he's still, if you can see, his Bitcoin. Let's see, did he buy back in? Liquidity price, marked price, entry. Oh, he did. He bought back in. So he actually closed, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he had $1 billion position opened up a long, 40x long. This was back when Bitcoin was at like 103,000. He bought in, obviously killed it. We ran up to about 112. He was selling or closing not his full position, but closing increments of it at around 110,000. It looks like he ended up opening up a short a few days ago, right? Because the market seemed like it was going to be heading maybe for a cool off with Trump's tweets and stuff like that. And then as of yesterday, from what I'm hearing, is he closed his short, right, for a small loss, and it looks like he reopened a long position. Right now you can see it looks like the long position margins around almost $2 million as of now. So not a crazy big position, but it looks like he did reposition himself and open up a long. But that's not why we're talking about him. I brought up Moonpig because this guy has been shilling Moonpig like crazy. If you don't know, this guy James Nguyen, when Pepe dropped, during a bear market, Pepe dropped. This guy was screaming to the moon to buy Pepe, right? This was when Pepe was at around a $600,000 market cap, and he was screaming, buy Pepe. Pepe's going to be something big, multi-billion-dollar project. A lot of people were laughing. Obviously, we know what happened there. Pepe ran up to a multi-billion-dollar project. It took a while, but they ran up, right? Being one of the biggest meme coins that we have. And now he has shifted his interest over to this Moonpig project. I did call this project out. Unfortunately, when I did call it out, it was around 10 cents. As of last night, Moonpig actually dropped down to about 4.5 cents. So I did buy in around 10 cents. When this thing was down to like 4 cents, I was like, holy shit. I was like, good God, I bought in way too high. But luckily, how I always do it is I don't just, use all my funds for one buy. So I was basically bringing my average down like crazy when we dropped down around that 5 cent or below, was just basically just bringing my average down. So I'm very happy about that because we saw a nice little move towards the upside. As of earlier, I actually broke into profits when we ran up to about this 8.8 cents. But I've kept it in there for now. As of earlier, it looks like a new listing dropped for Moonpig HTX. And I'm going to pull up Moonpig on CoinMarketCap real quick. So one thing I am noticing with this project is a lot of whales have been buying in. Market cap's relatively low. It's only at around $72 million as of now. But we're seeing a lot of these listings. And the last week, we've seen MEXC, Bitmark, LBank, right? These are all mid-cap, central exchanges. But as of now, I mean, they're moving the needle, right? They're moving the needle where you're getting a lot more exposure on even these middle caps. You're not going to see a Binance or a Coinbase, pick this project up in the stages that it's in right now. Usually you'll see the smaller mid cap. I wouldn't be surprised, just saying, I wouldn't be surprised if you see like KuCoin and Crypto.com probably follow suit, pick this project up in the next week or two, and then maybe you're talking about the bigger central exchanges like Coinbase or Binance, or if not both of them. So keep an eye out on this project. Right now, you can pick it up on Solana. You can swap it on obviously on PumpSwap, Raydium, Jupiter. It's all over Solana, so it's cheap for swaps as of now. I encourage not to. I'm not giving out financial advice, but if I was to buy anything that is particularly on Solana, right, I'm not going to go buy on a central exchange and pay those fees. I'd rather go onto a swap and save on fees and just use my DeFi wallet. If whether you're using Phantom or whatever the case is for Jupiter or for your Solana swap. So right now, is this a good time to buy in? Well, I would say not financial advice. Obviously, me buying in originally at 10 cents, looking at a 7 cents Moonpig, probably not a bad time. I'd keep an eye on it. Maybe we drop back down towards the 6.5 cent mark or below would probably be a good spot to be accumulating this project, in my opinion, right? So we'll see how that plays out. But other than that, yesterday DeFi was down like crazy, right? We're seeing a little bit of a move towards the upside. Turbo's up 7%. We have Punky up 6%. Billy, Myro, Win all up about 5%. Maniki 5%. So I mean, right across the board, really nothing crazy going on with DeFi for right now. But I think as we start, getting in towards altcoin season and stuff like that, DeFi, you'll see some of these projects. These are going to be your 20, 50Xs right here on some of these projects. Something on this list right here, this small little list that I have, I guarantee will probably 20 to 40X. We just don't know which one. If not multiples, we'll probably do something like that when the time is ripe, and you see all this liquidity just flying into the market. But we're obviously going to need altcoin season to go into effect. We're going to need Bitcoin dominance to come down as well. So, but with that being said, that's pretty much it for today. Nothing too crazy. It is Memorial Day, so I would expect maybe tonight. Right now, probably market stays stagnant. I wouldn't be surprised if tonight Bitcoin starts coming back alive and we start running up towards these all-time highs. I mean, we're literally, if you measure it from where we're at from the all-time high, we're only 2.19% to be exact away from all-time highs. That is absolutely nothing in the environment that we've been in. So I wouldn't be surprised if we kind of stay stagnant around where we're at right now, and then at some point we just start breaking new all-time highs. If not tonight, probably this week. Now, another thing too, before you guys go, I want to just give you guys a heads up. We do have a macro week ahead of us. The FOMC minutes are going to be dropping on the 28th, which is on Wednesday, which is in 2 days from now. FOMC minutes is basically a recap of the FOMC meeting that we had probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago. If they need to revise anything, it's basically that's their opportunity to do it. The markets, they'll maybe move a little bit. I don't think it's going to be much. FOMC minutes is really a nothing burger for the most part. GDP is probably going to be the biggest thing that we have on Thursday, the 29th. That's going to be dropping on this week, the 29th, and it looks like it's forecast to be coming as a negative or a down from where it was previously. So we'll see how this plays out with the GDP. I think GDP is going to be more something that we need to focus on. I guarantee if bad numbers come out on GDP, you're going to have the doomsday preppers coming out saying, the R word again. Recession. I think that the markets are too bullish right now to worry about that. And the way things have been going with Bitcoin is Bitcoin has been the hedge against inflation and potentially a recession as of now, right? So maybe this works in our favor, right? The markets just shrug it off, and a lot of you'll see Wall Street investors piling in, at least wanting to jump in on this pump. How high are we going to go? When is it going to top out? Who knows as of now? I personally think the top, I have this 127 area right here. I personally think that we are, it's my opinion, right? I hope that I'm because I'm always going to give out conservative estimates. I hope we break well above this 127, right? For all of us, I hope that we do. I hope altcoin season is nothing but fantastic for you when you see it, right? But we are going to hit our head at some point, and we are going to eventually get into a bear market. I don't think it's anytime like relatively soon, right? I think we have a lot more gas in this tank that we're going to be running. I right now conservatively have been saying that we're most likely going to top out. Me personally, I think we're going to top out around 130. I think that's going to be Bitcoin's top for this season. And I know it's crazy to say that when you're hearing everybody else saying 250. I saw George. I am George. He's very smart, but I see him. His like a thumbnail. I could have sworn I saw like $3 million Bitcoin, stuff like that. I think we're going to get to those numbers, but not this season, right? Maybe we do get to like 200,000. I hope, right? But I'm preparing for somewhere around like maybe 125 to maybe like 145. Somewhere in between there is where we top out for Bitcoin, which, I mean, if you really think about that, $145,000 Bitcoin is absolutely insane. That means that our market cap will be somewhere around 5 trillion. Just, I mean, with Bitcoin being there. Now, you're not even taking into consideration alts going parabolic. We could see, and that kind of puts it right there, calling for like maybe like a $10 trillion at the top, a $10 trillion crypto asset for a whole, right? So we'll see how it plays out, guys. You guys let me know if you're watching this after fact. Put your comments. What do you think Bitcoin's going to top out at? If you had a magical number, where do you see Bitcoin topping out at? Where do you see us maybe during the bear market? Where do you see our lows? Now, that's another thing. It's when we're in the middle of a bear market, which will come eventually, right? I think it's good. Our lows are going to be pretty freaking high this time. Last time, if you remember our bear market, we dropped down to like $15,000. Bitcoin did just a few years ago. Dropped down to 15K during the bear market. I don't think we'll ever see those numbers ever again. I really don't, unless something crazy happens across the world. I don't think we'll ever see those numbers ever again. I think our lows are probably going to be like 60 to 70K on the very worst day, right? Which is so high compared to our lows, like I just said, 15K just a few years ago. You know, and previously before that, 3K was the bottom, right? So you can see 3K, 15K, $70,000 as like a low for this cycle. So, and then imagine the next bull run. Now I think that's when you're talking about a $500,000 Bitcoin, something like that. So it's exciting. It is exciting, guys. I hope you guys prepare. I hope you guys have a great day today. Enjoy yourselves. If you guys are barbecuing or whatever the case is, if you have to work, keep grinding. The end of the tunnel, like you can see it. Just keep hodling. Hopefully crypto gets you out of that situation and you don't have to work anymore, right? For all of us. All right, guys, have a safe day. Be safe out there. Expect the markets to start coming alive, I think, later on today as we get into tomorrow, the market's opening up. So we'll see how this plays out. If you're new here, hit that subscribe. We'll be streaming all week. Lots of streams coming up. With that being said, have a fantastic day.